Okay, good evening, my friends, ladies and gentlemen. Uh, this is the Startup Buzz of CII's initiative, CII Western Region Council. And this is an online session which is held every Thursday from 5 to 6 normally. So please do block your calendars every Thursday at 5 o'clock to listen to some really exciting startup news and startup stalwarts, which we have one with us today. Uh, the whole idea is that CI tries to cover as many industries and ecosystems as possible. So in the past, as you know, we've done many of such uh, industries. And today, we're going to be looking at another really exciting industry, which is the hospitality industry. And we have our wonderful Mr. Devendra Parulekar. He is the founder of SaffronStays, who's with us today. One small new information that these sessions are recorded and they're available on YouTube whenever you want to hear them. So, Deven, I'll call you Deven. Is that's what everyone calls
Yes,
you?
that be perfect. Please call me Deven.
All right. Okay, Deven, welcome firstly, and it's pleasure to have you on this online session. And you created a lot of waves in the industry, the hospitality industry. And we'd love to hear. I'm sure all the people who are watching this and hearing this would love to hear from you. So I'm just going to shoot straight to a very simple, straightforward question rather than me reading out your formal biodata and all that. Let your biodata or your kind of come alive as we go along, and when I give you a question, as your answers, uh,
Absolutely.
so you'll kind of get a very good idea of who you are, what you did, why you did, etc., etc.
Yes.
So just tell us first of SaffronStays as it is and your future plans for SaffronStays today.
Okay, so SaffronStays was born in 2016, 2015, somewhere in that period. And we started out like, an aggregator, a discovery platform where guests could come and discover homestays anywhere in India. So we went around verifying more than 2,000 homestays pan-India and listed them all on a beautiful website, thinking that we would become an Airbnb of India. And we quickly realized that we couldn't take on a multi-billion-dollar funded company like that. And our views were through the roof. Our traffic on our website used to be through the roof, but the business that we actually did was next to zero. And we were about to shut down. And I still remember there was a phone call which came from a Parsi gentleman, and he said, "You know what? I have two homes, one in London and one in Mathiran. And the London one is managed by this company called One Fine Stay. And the Mathiran home, I'm looking for somebody to actually run this and manage this and market this and operate this for me. Would you be able to do it?" And we said, "Look, we're not an operator, not really our cup of tea." But he said, "No, I insist, please do it." Elderly gentleman, so we kind of respected his view. And I remember my wife, Tejas, who both of us are founders of this company. She called me from there, from Mathiran, from this 1885 built gorgeous heritage home. And she said, "Look, even if we have to I have to be a caretaker here, I will do this." Okay. And I think that was an aha moment in our lives. And we said the real problem to be solved was the certainty of experience that guests are looking at. And on the homeowner side, the real problem to be solved is they want somebody to do this professionally, meaningfully, because they may not necessarily have the skills, knowledge, or the wherewithal, or probably even the interest in running a home like this. So we became a perfect matchmaker between HNIs and ultra HNIs who own these villas, estates, homes, homestays.
And
And
there are many of them, huh?
there are many of them,
Yeah,
and
that's correct.
the number of HNIs and ultra HNIs is only increasing. Okay. And on the demand side, we realize that there are a lot of aspirational Indians who may not be necessarily lucky enough to own these homes or may not necessarily want to own these homes. Okay. Because they find that going to a SaffronStays and booking a home is far easier than actually owning one. And I'm the perfect bridge, the perfect matchmaker. So who are we? We are a network of around 400 such plus estates, villas, homes, luxury estates, luxury villas across the country, and that's who we are now.
Hmm. And what are your plans going forward? Firstly, tell us a little statistics, right? I mean, how many homes are you managing?
Yeah.
Approximate, if you want to share your revenue,
Oh,
stream.
sure, sure, sure. So we are around 400 homes, totally around 1,500 rooms, 1,550 to be precise. And we grow. We are adding typically 15 homes a month with almost 40 to 45 rooms a month. That's the speed at which we're growing. And it's like a snowball, the start was slow, almost like a Chinese bamboo, where you take years to grow your roots, build your processes, build your technology systems, build your teams, get your product right. And now that the product is right, and that product market fit is right, the brand has grown to a relevant size and stature. I think the only constraint to our growth is the homes, and that's being solved as we speak. So we are typically this year we'll close around 120, 125 crores with a 3 to 4% EBITDA. We became profitable 3 years ago, 3 years ago, and I think every year we're adding 1.5 percentage points to our EBITDA, margin. So next year we'll be 4.5, then we'll be 7, and so on and so forth. So the idea is to reach a 10% and eventually maybe settle at around 15% over the next 5 years, over the next 6, 7 years. And that's how we will grow sustainably, reasonably, at the right pace of our choice, so that our quality standards never dip. Because we are in a business where even one dip in our quality standard in one place, and my whole brand will kind of collapse.
And so you're saying this incremental EBITDA every year, basically your fixed costs are going to be defrayed over more and more this thing.
Yeah. So we are in a completely asset-light business, which means we typically don't own even a single brick, right? All of these 400 homes, I literally call myself the Julius Baer of the real estate industry, because I am the custodian
Mhm.
of the real estate assets of the HNIs, right? I'm a wealth manager for the HNIs. And if I look at the 400 homes, it's probably at least 6,000 crores of assets under management, but real estate assets,
Mhm.
which I'm actually monetizing for them, and in turn creating a business out of thin air.
Mhm.
So for all practical purposes, the reason why we are profitable is because of the fact that we've reached operating leverage over the last 7, 8 years. We've managed to put in our processes, our systems, and everything in place such that our now revenue growth, which is typically 40% every year, outpaces our cost growth, which is around 20% every year. And that's how your EBITDA margin keeps rising every year. And that's the end post, to keep becoming a profitable hospitality company.
Okay, so there's a question from one of the persons in the audience, but
Oh,
I'll come to
lovely.
that
That's fast.
later, because I'm sure the question that I ask you will probably answer that. So
Yeah.
I want to ask you one thing, Deven, is that what led you to founding Saffron Stays, right? Because your background is from Ernst and Young. You spent
Yes.
16 years there. And what was that eureka moment, which
Okay.
made you do that? Prior, now you explained uh, how you had that, yeah, eureka moment, thanks to a Parsi gentleman and Materan. So that
Yeah.
was later, but just go back a little,
No, thank you.
right?
I think Ashwini, thank you. Firstly, I'm a rank outsider. Both Tejas and I are rank outsiders to the business of hospitality. We have no connection other than spending time in a hotel or a homestay or a villa. We have no connection whatsoever. So we are outsiders. So Tejas is a corporate banker, chartered accountant, used to be with ICICI Bank, HSBC, a thoroughbred corporate banker, and stressed assets, working on stressed assets for a large part of her career. Okay. And I used to be a hacker, and I used to be in cybersecurity. So
Mm.
almost 18 years of a professional career, 8 years as a partner in EY, largely building out the entire cybersecurity practice of EY India. Now, how did we stumble upon this? Or rather, how did we venture into a completely unrelated area?
Eureka moment, I call it.
There were two eureka moments.
Uh,
The first eureka moment was way back in 2001, and this is courtesy Tejas's father, who used to be the chief economist of the Tata Group of companies,
oh,
and because he was at that position, her childhood holidays were always spent at the Tata Tea guest houses and the Tata Power guest houses and the dark bungalows and the plantation stays. So her childhood memories were shaped by a stay in a bungalow. So when we got married in 2001, we were gifted a honeymoon in Fort Kochi in the Tata Tea guest house, and I still recall vividly. We were sitting on the wooden stairs, and this crisp white uniform gentleman comes and says, "Madam, what would you like to eat?" He was close to 50s. And I remember how he went to the market, got that fish, made it in a beautiful curry and served us. And I recall that moment where we spoke to each other and said, "Why is this not democratized? Why does it need to be accessible only because you're a daughter of a Tata senior employee? Why is this not available to an aspirational Indian or any Indian or anybody who wishes to pay and get this experience?" But and then, of course, we are traditional Maharashtrians, so EMIs, children, marriage, life, careers, expectations from relatives, the the
Pressures. Yeah, the
all the
pressures.
pressures of leading a typical conventional middle class life took in their bait until we waited. So, way back in 2010, we decided that, what, we got to be entrepreneurs. So from 2010 to 2016, all we were doing was building a safety net to ensure that nobody ever points finger in our direction and says you haven't, because we had children, we had parents and a lot of responsibilities. For 6 years, we curtailed our lifestyle, got to ensure that no AMIs, no debt, nothing, build a fortune, little small fortune which would allow us to retire. And 2016, the most important event happened in my life, which is I turned 40, and midlife crisis hit me, and hit me hard. On the 40th day, I woke up and said, "I'm done." Okay, I hang my boots. And that's how I went to my boss, and I remember this Christian gentleman, Terry Thomas, my boss, and he asked me only in one sentence, "Deven, do you have a plan B?" And I said, "I don't have a plan B." Then he said, "You have to do this. If you don't have a plan B and this is your only plan, then you have to do this because then you're committed to it." And that's it. That's where the journey started.
Mm. No, no, but how did you think of this sector?
Yeah, because of the fact that we were so passionate about staying in these kind of homes.
Okay.
Because of the fact that, wherever we used to go internationally, we used to never stay in hotels. We've stayed across the world, and we've found out from the corners of the world, chateaus and homestays and farm stays and bed and breakfast, when this concept didn't exist. Airbnb did not
So,
exist
so
when we
your
used to.
2001
Yes.
experience stayed with you, all these.
Yeah, and my wife's holidays were like that, right? So she grew
Right.
up, yeah. So we always wanted to open up homes
Mm.
of people to the larger, and we strongly and firmly believe that the hotel rooms, is actually an aberration. We when in olden days, where were the hotels? Yeah, I mean, we used to stay in each other's homes. Atiti Devo Bhava means inviting people into your homes. So
Mm.
hotels is a function of the industrial revolution, right? It's in the last couple 100 years or so where hotels really took the prominence. But I think the reality is we are humans and we are social animals, and we want to stay with each other and bond and really understand the land. That's rooted hospitality.
Okay, okay, Devan. Thus, I'll ask my one last question, and then I'm going to read out all the various. Quite a few questions are coming in for you.
Of course, lovely. That's good
So
to
one
hear.
is, what was the mindset change
Yeah.
from an ENY experience to a Saffron Stays experience? How did you, what was the mindset, the change in your mindset?
So first is, I think, you have to brace yourself for a life of frugality, because the first of the month you say receive an SMS which tells you how much money has been credited to your account as salary. That stops.
Yeah.
Yeah, so your lifestyle, your needs and wants have to be very, very clear. And it's a journey for the entire family. Your entire family has to buy into this concept that you're going to be bracing for a few years, maybe even a decade of hardship and financial, personal, economic. There's too much toll that it takes as an entrepreneur. I've lost all my hair in the last decade.
Uh, uh,
So I'm just kidding. But yeah, it's a very difficult proposition to be an entrepreneur. And I think the biggest realization to me was as EY, as a partner in EY who built the whole practice out. The very next day, I got a beautiful send off in Four Seasons. All the partners flew in, came down, but the next day you're forgotten. And I think it was the wisest decision I took, because I know that now, not only is a legacy being built. I was a custodian of the brand EY, okay, but today I'm building a legacy, a brand which will outlive Tejas and me, right? So the brand SaffronStays is known. Deven is not known. Tejas is not known, and I don't care. I mean, we as founders would love to remain in the woodwork while our brand shines and rises in the sky. So the biggest realization for me was that A, put your head down. Uh, you know, you have no clue what's going to work. You got to try 100 things, out of which probably two will work. But you got to keep doing those 100 things. So the fancy PowerPoints that I used to prepare as a consultant and sermonize to the entire world. The first 1 or 2 years hit me hard, because I thought, all my expertise, all my gyan has fallen flat on its face. And I realized the trick to success is to try 100 different ideas and fail so fast that you got to, never be a prisoner of your ideas. Move on to the next one. Let's see what that next one. Fail fast, move on to the next one. Fail fast, move on. Keep iterating till you get your, secret formula.
Good. Excellent. Very nice. Okay, Devan, so we have a question. The first one was, what role did networking, and no, I think there's one more before
Huh.
that.
No, no, no.
Yeah. How did you fund and sustain growth without compromising your vision?
Yeah, so we bootstrapped. Of course, we put in a lot of our life savings into all of this, and we were very clear that we are never going to invest in the asset. So for us, the capital outlay per se was not as high as the ROC on this business is very high. We built out this whole business with just $2 million of funding, and we're growing. From 125 next year, we'll be 140, 150, 160. Every year we double every 2.5 years. So the business has been built with initially our bootstrap money, and subsequently in looking at every year, looking at a quarter's QBR, and saying how much can we invest, how much can we invest, can we, it's like a typical conventional business in the good old days of not having access to copious amounts of VC money. But in 2019, we did bite the bullet, because we realized that we need to have an accelerator, and we got in a consumer fund oriented VC called Six Sense, Nikhil Vora and his team, Nivisha and the team, and that really helped accelerate. And in hindsight, I realized that the raising that money was the smartest decision, because it helped us tide through the whole COVID fiasco of 2-3 years. It was just sheer timing,
Oh,
sheer luck.
you were very lucky with the timing of that. Right.
Absolutely correct. Yeah. But
Mm.
post-COVID, we've got a lot of tailwinds with us, because our biggest marketing was done by COVID-19 virus. Everybody got to know of the concept of private villas and the need for privacy because of the COVID virus, right? A lot of people wanted to do, the idea of a short vacation or a weekend getaway became mainstream, and staying in a luxurious home started becoming an acceptable norm versus staying in a five-star hotel, right? And people started realizing the advantages of staying in a home versus a fake, 400 square feet or 300 square feet room, which to my mind is just a pigeonhole.
Okay. So the next question is from Rohit Joshi.
Yes,
What role did networking and partnerships play to scaling SaffronStays?
I think that's the real reason why we are here where we are. Because I think I would credit a lot of this to the grounding and the training and the regimented approach that the likes of the ICICI banks and the careers, the professional careers that they just had and I had in A&Y, because it was all built solid foundation of earning the trust. We were the trusted advisors to clients, right? So networking with a clear intention to build a trusted advisory relationship was the foundation on which this company has been based. Now, for example, if I am, I come and approach you and I say, Ashwini, I would love to manage your home. First question is, who are you? Right. So that trust, earning your trust to be for you to part with your home, In fact, I jokingly say that in your earlier days, when we used to ask homeowners to part with their home, I found it easier to ask my father-in-law to part with his daughter than to ask an HNI to part with his or her home. They are that attached to, for them, it's not a commercial conversation, right? For them, it's an emotional conversation. Their hearts are involved. Networking, relationship building, trust building is, I think, the bedrock of this industry.
Mm.
And that's the real capital that we bring to the table. That's Tejas and I, the experience of 20 years of prior to starting this, uh, helped us in the most frugal manner. So the capital that we bring in is the relationships.
Mm. Yeah, I guess your biggest marketing or your sales tool is word of mouth, right?
Correct, absolutely. And
Mm.
even our guests, the guest list, it's purely word of mouth. I mean, in fact, if you go, you have a fantastic experience. You're going to tell 10 people, and you don't go alone. You go with 10 of your friends. So already the net marketing has started,
Yeah.
right? So yeah, you're right.
Okay. So the next question is, can you share a major setback you faced and how you turned it around?
So our biggest setback was the COVID-19, when the business just evaporated, right? I mean, from a run rate that we were doing a crore a month, suddenly it went down to zero. And you have your salaries, you have your teams. I think those 18 months, and people said, you must have made a lot of money in COVID. Yeah, and the reality is that no, we lost money hand over fist. In fact, we burned through all the $2 million that we raised in those 18 months completely. And reason was simple that we had to pay our salaries. We couldn't renege on that. We had commitments to homeowners. Those had to be honored. Regulations changed every morning. Someday it used to be, oh, you're allowed to go to Panchgani. Someday you're not allowed to go to Panchgani. Or someday the virus has come back. There's Omicron. There is this. So the open and shut uncertainty is the worst thing that can happen to a business, right? So the lack of certainty was the biggest setback. Those 18 months, I must not have slept. They just must not have slept because you see your dream collapsing in front of you, and especially if you don't have a balance sheet, worth hundreds of crores, or reserves. That's the a period which really tests you.
Right. On the
So that
side,
was, yeah,
talking of uncertainty, well, we have
yeah.
one idiot in USA who's making life uncertain for everyone. Anyway.
Sometimes strategically,
Hmm.
feigning insanity is also a strategy,
What is
right?
that? What?
When you feign insanity,
Yeah.
yeah. So there are these are all rational people, right?
So the question is, okay,
Unpredictability is a strategy.
yeah. So you had that issue for, I mean, you had a major problem during COVID. So
Yes.
once that got over, how did you turn it around? I mean, that's the next question. How did you turn
Yeah.
around? Yeah.
I think you got to go back to basics, right? You put yourself in a very very frugal burn mode. At that time you got to go into a mode of a cockroach mode. Yeah, I like to call it a because you've got to survive a nuclear holocaust, right? So your first aim is to survive and ensure that you're weathering the storm. Okay, you keep your costs frugal. Don't indulge in any investments at that point of time. Not investments, but don't put any money on anything which is not having immediate direct ROI. Focus on your survival. Keep growth aside for a little while, right? And ensure that you have, you always at all points of time, never ever renege on your financial commitments, whether to your investors or whether to your employees, whether to your homeowners. I think when the word spreads that you're an unreliable pair,
Yeah, that's the end of it. Yeah.
that's the end. That's the beginning of the end.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
come what may, your salaries have to happen on time. Your payouts to your homeowners have to happen on time. Your payouts to your photographers, your vendors, everything has to happen on time. You got to fund yourself, and if that means that you have fewer people, if that means that you burn the midnight oil to actually get it done yourself, ensure that you do it, right? The only thing that you will probably come out at the end of such a huge setback is, have you earned the trust of all the stakeholders who's helped see you through? And that team will take you from your depths of your if I can say failure, to the heights of your success. because you earned their trust in in your worst possible time.
Talking of what you mentioned about paying your employees and stakeholders and all on time. My father had
Yeah.
a principle. He said, "Don't pay your uh, purchaser. Let your suppliers on time. Pay them before the time."
Yes. Correct.
That's when,
Yes.
if tomorrow you have an issue, they will hold on. Okay, ठीक है, आपने हमें मदद किया, आप हमें 15 दिन बाद में दीजिए.
Absolutely. I remember our PR team came and said, you know what, you don't pay us for 2 months. It's all right.
Mm.
I mean, they are on a retainer, and of course, I mean, our employees. Do you know that we were literally having an existential crisis? Our employees willingly came to us and said, "We'll take a pay cut." And
Yeah,
when and the tide turned, we ensured that we gave them back all that money. That it was like a loan to us, which was not a secured loan or anything, but we paid it back, and that earned tremendous amount of if loyalty is the wrong word, but a lot of commitment or faith and trust from your
absolutely.
people.
Okay, the next question is, now that you've built a 100 crore startup, what's your next big start plan?
So our ambition is very clear. We don't have ambitions of numbers. To us, also 100 crore was just some sort of a, if I can use the word, a PR, newsworthy release, right? And you take a milestone and pat your back. But I think a true success would be if probably maybe 5, 10 years down the line, somebody says, what Taj did to the business of hospitality in India. Tejas and Deven have built SaffronStays and have repeated the same for homestays and villas. And if that happens, and if we are given that same equitable respect, I think we've achieved what we want to achieve. And we chose the brand Saffron Stays because we feel it's a very India centric, very Asia centric nomenclature, and we would like to plant this flag, perhaps in across the world, wherever Indians travel, because
So,
saffron stays with you.
yeah. Currently, where are you kind of focused? Are
India.
you pan India, or are you mainly in certain geographies?
So, out of the 10 years of our existence, 8 years we focused on only Maharashtra, that too Mumbai and Pune. So, for example, Alibag today itself, we run close to 50 luxury villas. One Karjat, that whole area, we run 85. One Lonavla, Pamna, Kamshed, we run around 90. So, bulk of the 400, close to 300 are in Maharashtra. Then last 2 years ago, we started expanding to Uttarakhand, Himachal, then Kashmir, then Rajasthan, and Goa. So we opened up these 5 markets. The idea is to systematically, slowly, in a very sustainable manner, in a very profitable manner, keep expanding these clusters, keep expanding these regions, and build this out. Hopefully, maybe someday going global as well.
So good. At least so far, you've displayed yourself to be a true Maharashtrian.
We launched our first resort in Sindhudurg. It's a 25
Oh.
sea-facing suites.
Hmm.
All suites face the sea. It's called Arakila. It's in the village Aravli, and it's a killa. It's like a modern day interpretation of a fortress, of how Maharaj would have built, Shivaji Maharaj would have built a fortress overlooking the whole Arabian Sea, and we've called it Arakila. And it's just literally 45 minutes from the Goa airport. And the reason why taken this up is because I am from Sindhudurg, and I want
Ah,
to put Sindhudurg on the world map of tourism. Very personal to me.
interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Next question. Acha, I think it's basically the Anurag Jain is asking, how did you manage financial risks when you had no plan B?
Ah, okay. So the honest answer is that we provided for a life of retirement. Okay. So, when 2008, when I became a partner, 2010, I remember a lot of my fellow partners went around buying Jaguars and, fancy apartments, and they did all of that because they came into a lot of money suddenly. But they just and I were very clear that we are never going to change our lifestyle. Because if you change your lifestyle and if your wants increase, then it's impossible to roll back and go from a salary of certain number and go back to zero. It's not possible. So over the next 8, 10 years, I think we led a life of frugality. We knew how to run, have our own moments of enjoyment. And I recall, a few years ago, I bought a golf set for myself, and my son was very young at that time. He whispered in in his mother, which is my wife's ear, saying that, "Aren't we poor?" Now, why has that gone in? So, and we got them to realize the value of money, because as entrepreneurs, the gratification is delayed, right? Your pot of gold is going to come a decade later, maybe 2 decades later, but you got to have the ability to sustain
Persevere,
and keep
persevere.
just simply irrationally persevere. I think irrational perseverance is something that we built into our DNA, and that's who we are. That's the reason why we are where we are.
Okay. Next question. Did you focus more on profitability or growth in the initial years, and why?
Growth, growth, and I think we even now we profitable, but it's not a profitable enterprise with 10% growth. It's a profitable enterprise at 30, 35, 40% growth. And that's a fairly high growth. So we wish to, because the market, what has happened in India, Ashwini, I must tell you, is that because of this government's tremendous emphasis on infrastructure, particularly roads like the Yamuna Expressway, Ganga Expressway, Samruddhi Highway, Atal Setu. I think distances which were 6 hours away, 8 hours away, are suddenly now 2 to 3 hours away, right? And drivable destinations. So nobody, when we were small, we used to take a holiday, 3 weeks holiday in Himachal, right? Nobody takes 3 weeks holidays in Himachal now. They want to go quickly, fly in, fly out, or drive. And so the concept of holiday snacking, you have 52 weekends through the year. You will take at least 15 breaks in those 52 weekends, right? You want to exit the city, have a lovely, relaxed getaway with your family, with your friends, with your loved ones, or maybe milestone birthdays, celebrations. You want to go out and come back. You are not in the mood to have one holiday in the full year. You want at least 20 holidays and 20 breaks. That cultural shift, the way the customer is consuming this product is changing, right? And of course, Instagram is fueling the need to show off to the whole world where you've gone last, which new location have you discovered, and which Pinterest friendly villa have you booked. All of this is fueling growth for us. So under no circumstances am I going to lose this opportunity, right? So the next 10 years, with India's per capita income growing, disposable income growing, the rising aspirational and the need for luxury tourism, I think growth will be central to our story. I will gladly sacrifice a few percentage points or a delayed percentage points of profitability for growth, at least for the next 10 years.
Mhm. Yeah, you're absolutely right, because I mean, growing up, I remember ek, when your chutti ke summer holidays, we would go to
नानी
Kashmir
के घर पे
for a
हाँ
month, you
क्या
know.
करेक्ट
You
करेक्ट
know, or at most, maybe a second one in Diwali,
करेक्ट
somewhere during Diwali. But now it's
करेक्ट
quite regular. Yeah. Okay. So growth. Next is, so that's done. How do you identify whether an idea is worth pursuing without over analyzing?
execute it, test, just run it past. I think the first thing you need to do is, and you need to understand, and many people, famous personalities have said this before: ideas are nobody's monopoly, right? So first thing is socialize that idea. Start talking to people about your idea. There's nothing called stealth mode. There's nothing called secrecy. All ideas are known to the entire world. There's nothing left, right? There's no secret ideas. There's no patented ideas. Just go out and talk to all the people that you can, and you will realize that as you speak to more and more people, the idea gets more and more refined. Then take a stage and say, okay, now I have to build my first MVP, or minimum viable product. Okay, so do it in a in a small manner, test that idea out, and see what outcomes come. Because unless you do something, you will have no clue, right? So that's your phase two. Phase one is I socialize the idea. Phase two is run the MVP. And phase three onwards is just keep tinkering and iterating till you start figuring out how that MVP actually comes to a product market fit. That's your third phase, which is product market fit. Ensuring that your product really meets the needs of a certain small niche of customers in a niche market. Don't scale till you have got your product market fit right. There is no point in expanding. In fact, I can tell you for 6 to 8 years, we were nailing our product. Our expansion that has happened literally in the last 3 years. So we were probably what, 4 years back, post COVID, we exited COVID with just 15 crores of top line. Today we are 120 crores of top line in 4 years. So the growth happened because we were nailing the product down. So product market fit is the time that you take where you literally nail the product down and know all the possible risks of that business. And then you raise your capital, because you now go to the person who's giving you money and say, I know all the risks of the business. Now it's purely a scale-up game. And for that, I need capital. That's your stage 4, which is raising capital to scale. And then, of course, then the wealth creation starts, which is your unlocking the wealth on the bourses, whether it's a IPO or whatever it is, or strategic investments or whatever. So these are 5 phases of executing a business from start to uh, its natural
I hope
fruition.
I hope the audience is noting down these very important words of wisdom. Anurag Jain again, he says, how did you design Saffron Stay's revenue model to ensure profitability while scaling?
So I think the revenue model is very simple. There are only actually Deloitte conducted a study, and Deloitte had written a book 15 years back, and they said they studied thousands of companies, and they said there are only 3 rules to making what distinguishes a successful company from the others. Rule number 1: quality over quantity. Okay, so under any circumstances, your quality has to be your number 1 priority. Rule number 2: revenues over costs. Your revenues always have to be far higher than your costs. Rule number 3: there is no other rule. Okay, that's it. And they published a book around this. And trust you me, this is the revenue model. Whatever, so for example, I can tell you that we took a conscious call that we will never have any lease agreements. We will only do management contracts. So for example, Marriott built out its entire global franchise on management contracts. They don't own a single hotel anywhere. And we wish to replicate that model where I will own nothing. I will have no fixed leases or no fixed guarantees or no fixed minimum. So there are many mega funded players who burn their money through and create a house of cards with supplier by giving minimum guarantees. That's the bane of this industry. The moment you give minimum guarantees, you are opening yourself to poor business practices, especially in lean season, and dropping your prices and your brand proposition and reducing yourself to a budget player when you are a luxury player, right? And not having the ability to weather a slightly weaker season. So terms like minimum guarantee, etc., are very poor revenue models. So we chose the Marriott way and said, look, we are here to build a business for over decades and not 4 5 years and sell out. So we will build a business where we will not base anything on asset creation. We will build a business purely on management contracts, where we take a share of the revenues that we generate, and those revenues that you generate should be enough to cover your costs and leave you with a profit. These are simple principles that we adhere to. That's it. No rocket science.
So this is quite revealing. I didn't know that Marriott, they have some, I don't know, 6,000 or 10,000 properties. They're all franchise.
Management contract.
They don't own
Yeah,
any,
it's not a franchise, it's a management contract. They run the show.
meaning they
They
don't
run the
own the
show.
property.
They don't own the property. Yeah. And I think, I think the fundamental part in hospitality is asset ownership and management has to be different. Asset ownership is a real estate play. And that is the expertise of a very localized play. The real estate can't be pan India, pan world, or whatever. Real estate is a very hyper local, business. You got to understand your micro market of owning the land. Even, for example, even liaising with government, ensuring that your permissions are in place, project management, getting the real estate up and running. So I am just a reflection of what the larger hospitality play is, because my real estate owner is a homeowner, right? The capital has been invested by the homeowner. So the homeowner is rooted in that gaon. He knows the sarpanch, he knows the gram panchayat, he has taken the permissions from the collector, the local ecosystem, the villagers, they are all known to him. So the real estate is owned by that individual, right? He has far more to win or lose in that gaon than me. But he doesn't or she doesn't have the skills or the abilities or the willingness to actually run this kind of a business and monetize this property. and he or she was burning money to maintain the property. So from a negative income, where he or she was burning money maintaining staff and actually the electricity and the upkeep, I have got him to not only covering his costs but also making a decent profit. And in that process, I'm building out a revenue model for myself, and
Mm.
earning a fee for myself.
Yeah, and I think a very important aspect from I'm talking now from the owner's point of view is that,
Yeah,
you know, even if you don't get any return, you know that the property is being maintained properly.
hang
But
on, your property is
a
maintained. Yeah,
property that is not being used, I know it
correct.
just goes south, very quickly. Yeah,
So, it's like muscles, right? You go to a gym, you build out a muscles. 2 months, you don't use those muscles, you don't go to the gym, you're back to normal, right? You're back to square one.
absolutely.
House is like
Okay,
that. You
another
don't, yeah,
question.
sorry, yeah.
Yeah, okay, Devan, no. How do you manage cash flows? I'm not sure whether he says here in a seasonal or cyclical business like hospitality. I don't think it is anymore. Is it?
No, it is. It is. There are, for example, we are entering a slightly low season with Shraddh and Pitru
Oh,
Paks, and yeah, people are a little concerned about. Those are short periods, but yes, hospitality is cyclical. There are a few cycles, but I think we work. If you notice, we again one of the core principles of our business when we started out was we will never take cash. It will be a business which will be run purely white. It will be run with GST being fully paid. Even if we don't make money, government should make money, right? And we second business principle we put to ourselves: 100% cash advance, which means if you're booking a home, there you will pre-book, pay in advance, and book the home. This gave us two fundamental things. First is peace of sleep at night, so that you have no obligations in terms of paying to the government. You are already in advance in cash flows. And second, negative working capital. So I don't have working capital requirements that I have to go and take a line of credit. The customer is funding my business. So the advances that come from the customer, I have a float, and I use that to ensure that my salaries, etc. I plan. It's a small little treasury that we run, but we ensure that we are for always covered in terms of our cash flows. So the biggest problem that actually enterprises shut down is cash flows. That we said from day zero, we will always be on a negative cash flow kind of a
cash,
business.
cash is king, as they say, right?
Cash is king,
Okay,
absolutely.
Rahul's message, question is, what changes do you see in technology in this, the technology in the hospitality industry in the next 5 years, which was
Oh,
not in
why
the.
5 years? In fact, 3 years ago, we embraced technology big time. Okay. And so for example, 3 years ago, we were 125 homes and we had 180 people in our corporate staff. Today, we have 400 plus homes, which is almost three times or more, but we have only 180 people. So only 20 people added. 160 became 180. And that has happened because we embrace technology. And I'll give you a case in point. 30% of my business is actually done by AI. Now, we embraced AI 2 years ago, and every part of our business, from marketing to sales to, actually, when you call our call center, you don't speak to a human, you actually speak to an AI bot, and you will have no clue you're talking to an AI engine bot. Even if you chat with, you're chatting to an AI engine. As a customer, when you raise a customer complaint, your 90% of the customer complaints are closed by the AI engine bot. So our ML algorithms are trained to identify which lead will actually fructify, which may probably has a low probability. I think technology has seeped into our blood. And there is no way on earth you can run 400 properties in remote locations without deployment of technology. There's no chance. So our caretaker, our supervisor, everybody carries apps. Our homeowners carry apps. And that's the secret sauce to this business. So you can't scale this business without technology.
Okay, great. Shivam Jha, how can we use hospitality to have a golden touch in everyday life for self and business? Can you understand the question? I'm not sure.
It's a little difficult, but I would request. There is a book called Unreasonable Hospitality. It's our gospel that we live and die by, and it says that sometimes unreasonable hospitality is about uh, sometimes not having structured SOPs in place, and your singular mantra is your customer has to be happy. Singular mantra. So of course, I'm not saying that you don't train your people, and this is not an excuse for laziness. This is not an excuse for lazy hospitality. But it's the singular goal is if your customer is happy, you've reached your goal. So you know, unlike a hotel where I have say staff in one place with 200 rooms or four, I have 1,500 keys with three keys or four keys rooms in 400 locations. For me, the moment of truth comes when that caretaker is actually talking to you, and that caretaker is a poor staff from the village, right? He's wearing a uniform trained up by us, but he's not necessarily the Indian hospitality management graduate or whatever. He's a local villager. The cook is a local village cook. So the singular mantra that these people live by is for them, they have only one thing in their minds. They want their customers to be happy, and they wear this like a matter of pride, or a badge of honor, and the respect that they earn because of that, and of course the tips that they earn. So it's unreasonable hospitality that they live and die by.
Okay. Uh, Dipali Jadia, I think that you answered. Why no plan B? You answered that. Dr. Amit Prabhu Salgaonkar, will Saffron Stays as a brand focus only luxury, or will we see some budget-friendly options as well?
No, so unfortunately, we will not focus on budget friendly, and we have chosen the premium, upscale, and luxury as the space to operate in, and that is because of the simple reason that if you have a three-room inventory, four-room inventory, it's economically unfeasible. It's not feasible to run operations in, with hundreds of homes giving you small revenues each. You would have rather fewer homes giving larger revenues. So we vacated that space 5 years, 4 years ago, and we said, look, that's some of our competitors love to operate in that space. We said no, we will. And also, it's very interesting. In India, there's a classic cave curve for demand. It looks like a K. There is tremendous demand at the bottom of the price curve, and there is tremendous demand at the top of the price curve. In the middle, na aap upar ke ho na niche ko. You're neither a mass player, a volume player, and neither are you a niche player, which is getting pricing and the profitability. So you are stuck in the middle, and that's the worst place to be in. Both from a branding perspective, cash flow perspective, positioning perspective, it's the most difficult, right? And we chose that we will go up the curve. So, for example, just yesterday we got declared again fourth year in a row as the top 100 luxury brands of the country. There's a compendium called the Lux Book 100.
Congratulations.
Thank you so
Congratulations.
much. It just happened yesterday. It's a lovely coincidence. Fourth year in a row. And out of the 100 brands, there are only 12 or 13 hospitality brands. The rest are on an auto and watches and bags and fashion and all of that. And these are 100 homegrown luxury brands. So our decision that we took 4 5 years ago really helped us position in a certain manner. And I told you, and I've bared my ambitions. We want to be the Taj of homestays, right?
Want to
So
be the what?
Taj of homestays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. The question from Manmohan Jindal. Did you mention what is raw cost? Did you say raw cost?
No.
I don't. Okay.
No.
Next is Amit Nischal. How are your services different from Airbnb as far as a consumer goes?
Oh, Airbnb is just an aggregator. So, which means for me, Airbnb is a distribution platform. So I list my 400 villas also on Airbnb. So you can discover me on Airbnb. It's like Amazon. I can sell directly to you through my website, or I can sell through Amazon. Same way, Saffron Stays, 80% of our business comes from saffronstays.com and our own channels. But a certain percentage of my business comes from Airbnb. So Airbnb is not providing any service. It's just a listing platform. Yes, right. So the person on the other side is either an operator or a homeowner choosing to do it himself or herself, or an operator who is doing it on behalf of homeowners.
Yeah. So the here you are the homeowner in a way. You're looking
Yeah,
after.
I'm the homeowner. Yeah. I'm representing the homeowner. I'm the surrogate homeowner.
Right. Okay. I think we were done with all the questions from the audience.
Lovely.
I have one last one, and then we'll
Yes.
uh,
Thank you, Ashwini. Yeah.
for the day. So, words of wisdom for current and aspiring fellow startup entrepreneurs?
Only 3 words. Lage raho munna bhai.
Okay.
Yeah, only 3 words. I think that pretty much says everything that I wanted to say, because I think the trick to or I put it this way, that overnight success happens in after 10 years.
Mm. Right. So don't think of okay, one question has come from Shivam again. Any advice that you stick with life that you, I mean, your I think I don't know what stick with means, but any advice that you have with in your life, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know what that question.
Whatever you want to think, dream big, right? Multiply it then by 10 times and go after it, right? Whatever you're thinking, think big, because if your goals, your dreams, your aspirations don't scare the shit out of you, if they don't scare you, then you're not dreaming big enough, right? So at your level, you may be whoever, whatever background you come from, whoever you are, just think and aim big. You will get somewhere close to it.
I also have one thing that, hope for the best, prepare for the worst.
Perfect.
I think that's for any startup, that's very important. A lot of them don't prepare for the worst, and then
Yes.
and as they say, shit happens.
Yeah, and you never know what. Operation Sindoor happened, and suddenly 15 days our business was shut. What do you do? How do you plan for all that, right? I mean,
Or COVID. What about
or
COVID?
COVID, yeah.
All right. Okay. Thank you, Devan. It's been really a pleasure hearing you, and I'm sure all the audience in the audience have really enjoyed every little nugget of yours that you've told us
I'm
about
honored.
life,
I'm
about
honored.
your business, about Saffron Stays, and we just hope and we pray that Saffron stays for the rest
With
of our
you.
lives and rest
Yeah.
of our kids' lives and many generations from now.
Thank you. Saffron stays with you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.